In today's episode, Lou and I are going to be going through 15 different albums. We're going to be inspecting the entire track list for these 15 different albums, and we're going to be deciding what is the best AUX song on those track lists. Guys, if you're new to the NFR Plus channel, hit the subscribe button. We're uploading here on a weekly basis. But Lou, let's get into this. Utopia is the first track list that we have in our hands for today, right? And you and I have had many different conversations about Utopia. What's the best song? What's the most underrated one? But we've never answered the question, what is the best AUX song on this track list?
It's interesting just because I feel like this album's obviously still ringing off on like millions of AUX chords and people's card play. And it's one of those albums where you can only go to Utopia for that experience. It's very unique, and there's 20 songs, so there's so many different places you can go to. I want to start
Are you
off
looking at Fiend?
I want to start off by saying this. The songs that are not able, like the songs that don't get the pass on the AUX, all right? There's shit like Topia Twins.
K-pop.
No thank you. K-pop. You know what? K-pop's acceptable. God's Country, get that the fuck out of there. Del Resto, there's no way. And Parasail, just because it brings the mood down.
Del Resto in the big 2025.
No way.
I'm not there.
Stick to Cowboy Carter.
I will say this, though. I think there's some underrated gems on this album for the AUX cable example. Something like Sirens goes crazy in the whip, especially with the beat switch. Even looking at something like Schizo that I was really considering as well.
Yes.
That was just a wonderful switch of production, even towards the end where you get the soul sample and Travis. To be honest with you, I'm stuck on a lot of different songs, though.
Don't say Fiend, bro. Listen, if my little cousin is over Fiend, then I think we all need to be over Fiend too. Like, it's a crazy stadium song, but I feel like at this point, I only want to hear it in that environment. You know what I mean? Like at a crazy live concert.
I feel like this answer for me has changed so many different times with Utopia and what's on the AUX. I'll give you my current pick, and it's probably going to change in 2 months from now.
That's funny you say that because mine is the same that it's always been. But I think your pick is going to be, I want to say, Lost Forever?
No.
Okay.
Take another guess.
Okay.
I'll give you 2 more guesses.
All right.
Based on what I've named already.
Thank God.
You're close.
Hyena.
Yes.
That's a good pick.
Yeah, that's where I've been.
That's a great fucking pick.
I just love the build-up, bro. I love the raw aggression from Travis on this song. I think for even on a production basis, who's credit on this? It's Travis, Mike Dean, and then there's 3 other guys. Who else is on this? You have Wonder Girl, Jahan Sweet, and Noah Goldstein. Like it's just a star-studded cast of producers. And I love how it feels like it's not 90s boom bap inspired. I don't want to use that. That sounds kind of corny, but it doesn't sound like the traditional Travis Scott psychedelic trap beat that you'd get on other songs on here. So I feel like there is a bit more of a oomph, if I could say that.
That oomph.
That oomph to this song. It's just super explosive. I love the intro to it, and I love how it starts. So yeah, I'd probably go with that right now.
That's a great pick. Yeah, no, for me, it's always been I Know. I think it'll continue to be I Know. It's easily the catchiest song on the album.
Catchiest hook,
for sure.
I thought you were going to go with Parasail, Lou.
No. Yeah, okay. Really hypnotizing keys. It's impeccable clubbing music, impeccable late night drive music. Your kids will love it. Girls love it. Everyone loves the song. You know what I mean? Like, it's one of the safest picks, and that's something you have to look at for the AUX.
Oh, for sure.
Safe picks.
I think here in this episode, at least for my picks, I chose a lot of popular songs.
For sure.
Because, you're not going to get in the car and, like, maybe I do like Parasail, but if I have, like, my sister or, if I have family members, like, I'm not playing that on the AUX,
That's it.
Even for my own personal rotation.
But I will say this, there are albums on here where I'm like, okay, well, some of the popular songs aren't the best, so you have to take the route of, like, well, let me put someone onto something or just go with something that's not as known. But next up, we have Blonde by Frank Ocean. This is one of those cases for me where there's no right or wrong answer with Blonde. Like, besides, if you're playing the skits in the whip, then we got to start asking questions. But besides that, there's not many places to go wrong. So where'd you go with this?
It depends the mood, right? I mean, if I'm driving in the day and I'm just chilling out and I'm enjoying myself, I want something more shiny, you could say a Pink plus White. I think that would be an easy answer. But when I used to review my list for my favorite late night drive songs, and when I used to do curation for that, I always said White Ferrari was that song, and I think that's going to be my pick here today, especially when you're driving at night. And you're getting those crazy Frank vocals, the production feels extended, the bridge in the song itself is beautiful as well, the extended production towards the end of the song, it's a very euphoric track.
Yeah.
So that would be my pick, as far as like my favorite song off of this album to play on the AUX.
That's a great pick. For me, yeah, I kind of have 2 answers. Like, if it's a solo drive, I'm going with Godspeed, just because
wonderful song.
Like, that's a song where you feel like you're on your way to a beautiful sunset and you just get brought to this spiritual place for all the gospel vibes within it. So that's a great song. Wish it was longer. But Ultimately, I'm going to choose Nights. I feel like that's an aux classic. Yep. That's going to give you that sing-along moment in the whip with the whole, like, my everyday shit, my every night shit. Like, just so memorable. And I love the dope beat switch as well when those crazy guitar chords come in. It's almost like you get 2 songs in one with that track. For sure. So, yeah, that one is probably the best for me. But like you said, Pink plus White is probably the safest in this scenario. But
for sure.
I would go with Nights. You would go with White Ferrari. Next up, The Off Season by J. Cole.
Full of aux bangers.
Yeah.
An album that is curated for the aux, in my opinion.
What do you do if someone plays Amari on the aux?
I respect it, but I jump.
Yeah.
I respect it, but I jump.
It's kind of like, whoa, what's going on here?
No,
you know?
no, sir. I always felt like it was super overrated. Even like Pride is a Devil, I think the most popular songs on this album are not necessarily like aux friendly for me. For example, like an Amari is a fan favorite off of this album. Pride is a Devil is chill. I think
What About My Life?
I think it's overrated. That would be something that I would consider.
Yeah.
It's not my pick, though. I'm going to be honest with you. But it came down to 2 songs for me.
Me too.
95 South and The Climb Back.
Okay, I had 95 South and Applying Pressure as my 2.
Yes, but I went with The Climb Back.
Okay.
I love the drums on The Climb Back. The production, especially with the vocal sample at the beginning, is awesome. I love the fast-paced rapping from J. Cole. It's a very triumphant and also, I would say, inspiring J. Cole track, if I could put it like that. There's a sense of urgency to it, and also like this climb back to the top. That whole like narrative within the song and the writing to me is extremely inspirational, and it's the song that I was listening to the most post off season and even after off season. So to come into this episode and be like, yeah, you know, Punching the Clock and Applying Pressure are definitely ones that I'm playing a lot, or 95 South, it still doesn't compare to The Climb Back.
I think The Climb Back's the best song on the album, but the best aux song for me, without a doubt, is 95 South. I think that it's the most anthemic song on the album. When that Lil Jon Put Your Hood Up sample comes in, it's just magic, and I love the horns on here. Cole is spazzing harder than ever. I love also just the way that like his tone intensifies as the song goes on. It's just one of those moments where he's giving you his all, and yeah, from start to finish, it's just an absolute banger that goes off in the car because of those southern drums and just the inspiration that he's pulling from and what he's adding to it. I think it's the perfect aux song, but let's keep on going. Next up, Imaginal Disk by Magdalena Bay.
I'm happy to bring this album and actually to a series like this.
This is an amazing pop album, and we haven't really spoken about it too much in our YouTube videos. And this is a start to finish album for me. Like I won't like casually put on like one song or
I
two
haven't
songs,
had the most time with this album though on the aux.
Yeah.
But when I have, I've really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
And I think it is an album that you could play around so many different demographics, right? Because I know there's a large part of the hip-hop community that really loves this album. Then, obviously, you get the synth-pop fans that are raving over this and saying that it's one of the best albums of the year. It got great reviews by the critics. So it's a very safe album to play in all settings for any demographic, right? You
100%.
could realistically play this at any single place. Songs that I was considering, going through this track list, there's a lot of quality, and I think that there's a lot of replay value. Killing Time is a song that I absolutely love. I think that was in consideration for me. I was even looking at Vampire in the Corner. That's a song that I do revisit. Even the Ballad of Matt and Micah towards the end.
Yes,
which is the outro.
that's a good shout. Yeah.
That's a great shout. Honestly, though, I think if someone's not hip to Magdalena Bay, you want to kind of not put them onto the most popular song in the album, but I feel like something that's accessible but that also has a lot of quality, especially in writing format. I went with Image. I ended up going with Image. It's the most popular song off of the album itself. It's a good gateway for anyone in the car to maybe want to explore Imaginal Disk. I love the writing throughout it. I think Micah has a wonderful performance all the way throughout it, and I think that, the first time you're hearing it, you're going to hear like that crazy synth pop production, but then you go into the writing and you realize that there's a beautiful concept to this song, and Micah trying to decide between two personalities, and it's a whole concept as far as the record goes. So
sure.
I think it's a great shout. It's also one of the best songs off of the album. You could argue it's top 3 in my opinion, and I've actually played this on the aux at events.
Oh, for sure.
I've played this on the aux at events.
For sure. It's a flawless song. Yeah, that's my favorite song off the album. I was considering that. I was also looking at Cry For Me. I love that song just because
it's very emotional.
Yeah, and it feels like a futuristic, like disco ABBA song. So to get those vibes in the mix is nice. Also looking at Love Is Everywhere, which has the best bass line on the album for me.
There's so much quality with it.
There's so much quality. But ultimately, I went with Death and Romance, which was a lead single for this album. It's a song about a journey where like she's waiting for a lover to pick her up in the car, and the song is about a journey and about fleeting love. So it's something that you could just ride out to, and it feels right. It's got a dope chorus. It has that upbeat, danceable vibe, and that's why I went with it. It's just, it's one of the more upbeat songs on the entire album. But if you guys haven't checked out Magdalena Bay's latest album, do yourselves a fucking favor. Next up, though, The Death of Slim Shady by Eminem. New Eminem on the AUX in 2025?
I'll do it.
You'll do it?
I don't care.
I've never heard you do it.
I've done it with my cousin Joey.
Yeah?
When we go to Oka, yeah.
When the album was fresh, though, right?
I still do it. Because we love Eminem runs,
Okay.
right? Because Oka from Montreal, so just to give you guys a bit of like a geo class, if I could say, on like Montreal's demographic. You have Montreal, and then after that you have the outskirts of Montreal, so there's different outskirts, like example, like Laval. You have the South Shore. There's all kinds of different places, and then there's the reserves here in Montreal, and it's like Oka, Kanawaki, and my cousin and I go take a trip up there like every single weekend, mostly. And when I'm in the car with Joey, he's a huge Eminem fan. So like we'll respin like Relapse, for example. We'll go back to the Eminem show. And sometimes we'll go back to The Death of Slim Shady because it does have that classic like Eminem sound to it.
So you guys go from Juice WRLD to Eminem in the car?
No, he'll never play Juice WRLD like in the whip. No. There's certain songs that I will listen to with him, but like we try to like have a good balance of what we both fuck with. But regardless though, I think Renaissance is a great shout. I just feel like maybe it's a bit on the shorter side, so maybe it's like, you know, you could find value elsewhere. I was even looking at something like Lucifer and Antichrist, to be honest with you. Those are really strong cuts, but I think the clear aux-friendly song on this album is Feel Legit.
That's a good answer.
I think I'm going with that one for sure.
Yeah,
that's what I'm locking.
I mean, for me, the only thing that like kind of bugs me a bit with that song is the production. I don't love like the down, 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 like that vocal sample, and some of the screeches on the beat kind of annoy me at times. So I didn't go with that one, even though it has some of the best rapping on the whole album. I went with Renaissance. Like, sure, it comes in at 1 minute and 30 seconds. You're getting those 2002 Eminem vibes. I love that he's in that mode where he's confident. You're getting those super tight schemes from Eminem throughout the track, and it just takes me back to that era. That being said, you could argue like, okay, well, if you're going to listen to Renaissance, you might as well go listen to the Eminem show, which I'll agree with, but it's still the song that I enjoy playing, you know, in the car the most. But there's also Lucifer, Evil, and Antichrist that would have been fair picks in this boat. But yeah,
situation.
I go with Renaissance.
All right, let's keep going on with this. Let's go on to a Pharrell Williams album, In My Mind, released back in 2009, I believe, right? This is a 2009 album?
No, this is 2006. Yeah.
My apologies. To be honest with you, bro, I'm not a big fan of this album.
It's not great.
I'm not a big... But there are certain jams that you could put on here.
Oh, for sure. There's a couple. You have to do some digging, though. It took some digging to pull up with something.
The thing is that I'm not a big fan of a lot of the solo tracks on here from Pharrell, if I'm being honest.
Well, it is feature heavy, so that makes sense.
But I mean, you do have like a good 5 to 6 songs on this track list that are not featuring anyone, right? Like How Does It Feel, Raspy Shit, Best Friend. Were you considering anything with a feature? Does your song have a feature on it?
I mean, I was considering Young Girl, I Really Like You, which is the 8-minute song with Jay-Z, and it's a 2-parter song, and that was a song where like it really opened up my eyes to how much Tyler is inspired by Pharrell with a 2-part song with the more R&B based singing from Pharrell, a lot of ties to Tyler's newer shit. But that being said, I enjoy the song, but it's been ruined for me, bro. Like, there's some weird lyrics that have aged poorly on that song.
Absolutely.
So that fucked it up for me. I couldn't go with that.
To be honest with you, bro, I'm just not a fan of this album. I'll be completely straight up with you guys. I'd probably give it a mid rating if I had to on like a review.
Production's really solid, but yeah, the performances are lacking.
But you know what? The only thing is like if I had to play a song off of this album on the AUX, if ever I decided to do it, I would do number 1.
Oh, me too.
I would do number 1.
It's just cool to hear Ye on like an R&B dance beat, and I think it's actually a really underrated feature. No one talks about the feature.
Because you're also getting Kanye at like a really like peak form right around 2006, so I think it makes sense. There's back and forth within the verse. It's an entertaining song, and it's 3 minutes and 50 seconds more or less, so it's also friendly for the aux in that manner. So I just went with it because, to be honest with you, I'm not revisiting most of the solo tracks on there. Even the collab with Snoop is not that great. The Pusha T verse is all right. It's nothing crazy. Yeah. And I'm not playing Pusha on the aux over, let's say, Kanye for like a group of people in my whip. So I kind of went with this one.
Yeah.
It was a standard pick. I think this was like my laziest pick out of everything else.
Yeah, I went with the same. I think I was also thinking about Show You How to Hustle, which is like the most hardcore hip-hop cut from the album. And Pharrell's kind of like making a clips track, just that he's the one rapping and not Malice and Pusha T. But yeah, I think number 1's the safe bet. But next up, Shoot for the Stars, Aim for the Moon by Pop Smoke. Talk about an album being made for the AUX. This just has endless bangers on it. So many places to go here. You can literally play Russian roulette with this album and just shuffle through and land on something that's going to work for the AUX.
And I love the production on this as well. Are you considering Dior?
No, we can't. That's the cop out. Like that's the easy way out here.
But it is the best aux song.
Sure, but like it's not. I don't even view it as part of this era. That would be a lazy choice to go with Dior. You
what
know
else
what I
were
mean?
you considering?
Oh, there's a lot of songs I was considering. I was looking at "Got It On Me," which I think
that's gonna be mine.
That is mine. It's one of the most, if not the most brilliant flip I've heard of many men, and we've gotten a lot of those.
And you know how
hip-hop.
crazy it is because he sounds so like in line with 50s like rapping style as well.
That's it.
Especially with like the intro that comes in. I was even looking at 44 Bulldog. That was another song that I was considering for the AUX.
I was considering Snitching, which has Quavo on it.
I feel like that song like grew on me heavily,
yes,
to be honest.
Such a great song. The Woo Gangstas are also great picks, but yeah, just the way that Pop Smoke captured that high voltage energy on Got It On Me, it's unmatched.
And not only that, but I feel like looking back on Pop Smoke's career and listening to a lot of the drill music that's coming out now, his production choices and the way that he was able to push his producers to make the best possible beats for him and the way that everything sounded so polished, so grandiose, bro, like he's untouchable when it comes to that type of sound, you know, and there's a lot of diversity within this track list as well. So like example, you know, you're picking up your girl, you know, What You Know About Love is a good, you know, pick as well. There's just
even the R&B songs are aux friendly on here.
Of course,
like,
but like that was also a thing that 50 did so well too, right? Was he made songs like PIMP, for example, right? So
21 Questions, yeah, all that.
You have those that are like friendly for the ladies on the aux, but my personal rotation always went with Got It On Me, and I think it's a timeless song for his catalog. Let's keep going on with this. I always felt really weird about this album title. Future Sex / Love Sounds. It's almost
Justin Timberlake. It's almost telling you what?
It's telling me, you know, you got to have sex to this album.
Yeah, that is the intent. And honestly speaking, like, there's a lot of people that were saying that, like, you know, Some Sexy Songs for You was the best album to fuck to or whatever. But in all seriousness,
that's crazy
this is a better choice. All that to say, like, there are better albums to choose than Some Sexy Songs for You.
You know what? There's classics on this album, though, right?
Oh, for sure.
It depends what you want. Right, I have two answers here.
I know what you're gonna go with, and like, I hate this song, bro. I've hated it since I was a kid. It always creeped me out.
What? Sexy Back?
Yeah, bro. I always felt queasy listening to it.
I love the Timbaland drums on
It's
here.
the JT vocal effects that make him sound like an older. That make him sound like an older lady, bro. Like, even though, like, you ready? Those shouts, bro, they're so awkward.
I fuck with it though.
You ready?
It's a banger, but no, I'm not going there. Everyday rotation, I'm not going there. I'm going. What goes around comes around.
Really?
Yeah, I love that song.
That's
bro.
good. It's more of like a slow moving ballad, though. Like for the car.
Bro. I love that though.
All right.
Like I like for me, it doesn't have to be crazy all the time. You know, like the Danger and Timbaland production is great on here. You're getting some beautiful keys. You get those strings that come in and out of the production. I love the way that Justin Timberlake starts off the song itself, and this feels like a classic JT song for me. That's the way that I feel about it. Like it's a staple in his catalog. The hook is recognizable to everyone as well. So that's why I was like, you could go Sexy Back, that would be acceptable, but at the same time, like, I'm not trying to hear that like when I'm starting my day off. Like, I like this song for my rotation. If I had to create a playlist of 2000s pop classics, I would choose this over Sexy Back.
All right. I have, like, by far Summer Love, which is a song that I feel like hasn't been picked up by this generation yet because the streams are kind of low, but this was all my iPod Shuffle knew, bro. Like, this was one of those songs.
It's one of them ones.
That was heavy on there. JT comes in with a lot of charisma. I even just like the premise of the song. Like, it's fun. It's JT, like, trying to pick up a baddie. That's really what it is. And one of the most memorable choruses he's ever laid down. And it has, again, that summer energy. You want to play this with your windows down on a nice hot summer day. Like, perfect.
You're in it.
This was the easiest choice for me. And even though it's not my favorite song on the album, that will go to Until the End of Time. For the aux, this, like, by a landslide.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
All right, we do the Carter 4?
The Carter 4 by Lil Wayne. Would you say this is his most aux-friendly album?
Yeah.
I think
this
so,
or
too.
the Carter 2.
Yeah.
But this album's a mixed bag, right? Because you have songs on here like Blunt Blowin', 6 Foot, 7 Foot, you know, President Carter, John, but then you get songs like Abortion on here.
Yeah.
So it's hard to find a good middle ground. This is honestly like it comes to like maybe 3 or 4 songs All right, so a song that I was considering that I didn't go with was Up, Up, and Away. The 808s on that song and the speeds at which he's rapping at, fucking phenomenal, bro. Like when those 808s hit with like those keys that come in, oh my goodness, bro. It has that classic ringtone era sound to it. I love that track. Blum Blowin' is definitely a big contender here. I could go with 6 Foot, 7 Foot. I mean, it's a great pick. I think it's the obvious one. I went with Mega Man. I did Mega Man. I had to do it, bro. This song is explosive.
I'm gonna read out my shouts. Blum Blowin', obviously 6 Foot, 7 Foot, which is like the most rambunctious song on the album, one of his biggest hits. That one makes a lot of sense. She Will with Drake, and John with Rick Ross, and President Carter. But Mega Man is the one, bro.
It's the one.
It's
explosive.
The one. It's the earth-shattering bass and drums. Like, again, if you do the car test with any song on this album, it's between 6 Foot, 7 Foot, and Mega Man. But bro, I love that he goes into annihilation mode from the beginning, bro. Like, lyrically, the bars are insane. The way the what shouts are layered in. Even the way
he starts off the first verse, faded off the cush, I'm gone. Only 2 years old when daddy used to bring them hookers home. That flow is crazy.
Yeah, lethal.
Like a machine gun.
Yeah.
And then, he doesn't even take a break, bro. Like the interlude basically towards the end of the song is just like him chilling out, takes a puff of the blunt, and he's like, okay, verse 2.
Yep.
Crazy
song.
Aggressive, bro. The aggressive energy of this, nuts. Another AUX-friendly album, though, the Massacre by 50 Cent.
There's
Are you
a
coming
lot
around?
here. I'm not coming around because, it's one of those albums that just lacks the consistency of a Get Rich. And I don't like when people put those two albums in the same breath. But there are a lot of highs. There's a lot of quality. Like, if I can, like, just eliminate, like, 5 to 6 songs, wow, what an experience it would be.
Yeah.
But, yeah, don't tell me you're going to say Candy Shop here.
No, we're not doing the Candy Shop.
Not doing it? Okay.
Honorable mentions for me, In My Hood. I love this song. It's a pure writer's anthem, Like, I really think that's top tier. Personal aux experiences. I've been through it with Gatman and Robin with my cousin Chris. That's a song that I was considering. Another one, Get In My Car. I love that song.
Just a little bit is another one for me.
Yeah, for sure. Disco Inferno, that was an aux-friendly banger at every Sweet 16 that we used to go to.
It's a club banger, yeah.
For sure. Then after that, Ski Mask Way was another one. I just think it goes to writer music. Like
it's writer music.
Like when we were bumping it in the car the other morning, I'm like, yeah, bro. This has a feeling to it,
It was meant to be played in the whip.
Yeah.
Like, it's one of those ones. And I just love that. It's also, like, if you're listening to that album, it's one of the more refreshing songs because it's more of a laid-back 50.
It feels like a G-Funk record.
Yeah.
It feels like his modern take on, like, G-Funk and, like, that whole West Coast era. Wonderful sample flip from High Tech on here. 50 asserting his dominance, talking about how he wants to fuck, or how he already fucked half of Hollywood. Feels like a very confident song from 50, looking back on his life, reminiscent. He literally starts off the first verse. Here's a taste of my life. It's bitter and sweet. And it gives you the rundown of what he's experiencing in life right now. Classic off the album.
For sure. Shout out to Position of Power. I was really considering that song,
That's a wonderful track.
One of the most underrated off the album. But, yeah, no, it's writer music all day. Next up, Songs About Jane by Maroon 5.
Underrated.
Back when Maroon 5 were in a garbage band. Back when they weren't relying on features.
That's a crazy statement.
Yeah, no,
honestly,
it's crazy.
But the storytelling, the writing on this album is really strong.
And it does have a good narrative, right? It's about, like, one of Adam Levine's exes and him trying to move past the relationship and all that. And these were enjoyable radio records. Like, I remember listening to as a kid to these songs, like, on the way to school or whatever it was with my parents, whatever, bro. And, like, I would get a kick of these. I think the obvious, like, slam dunk choice would be This Love, just for that infectious groove. It's a chorus that you, your mother, your mother's mother, your mother's mother's mother will get along to. Everyone's going to know this chorus and fuck with it. It's got rock, pop, soul influences. Like, it's a full package. But if it was me on the aux, I wouldn't want to play this song just because it's been obviously over-abused for, like, a decade. Like, it's at a point where it's one of the only songs from this album that you'll still hear on the radio. So I went with another hit on this album that wasn't This Love.
I think we've actually played this song in the same car together.
What, This Love? Possibly.
No, not This Love. The one that you're going to
Sunday Morning, bro.
You went with Sunday Morning? I
Sunday
went with She
Morning.
Will Be Loved, bro.
Okay. I think Sunday Morning's better, but yeah.
I just love the writing on She Will Be Loved. I think, like, if you're going to this album, like, you're not playing this album around the homies. It has to be with your girl.
Yeah, for sure.
It has to be with your girl in the car.
Yeah.
And this is me and my girlfriend's jam. We
There you
love
go.
this song. the chorus is fucking incredible.
It's just, it's another one of those songs that's still dominating the airwaves. You know what I mean? Like Sunday morning.
I don't hear this on Virgin Radio.
I would still hear it. I'm just saying Sunday morning is one of those songs that like you could play in the car and people would be like, oh fuck.
It's true.
I remember that track. Like this exists and it's fire, you know?
I think like this has maybe the most captivating hook out of the entire album. And it's also a very love and like slow driven song as well. So again, like I'm not trying to play this when I drive with you to work, Lou. You know, like that's not what it's gonna be.
Oh, yeah, we never drive together to work,
but I'm just giving the example. You know,
I know.
I'm not trying to put my hand on your lap while I'm listening to this song. So,
shit, bro.
Hey,
relax yourself, bro. Don't get any ideas now, bro. Watch the fuck out.
But She Will Be Loved is definitely for me. I love the strings on this song as well. I think there's like just this emotional depth to the track, and it's always been my favorite Maroon 5 song out of everything they've released over the years. And this is still their best album.
Yeah, it's such easily their best album.
And it's such a good album that they've made 5 different versions of it, bro. Over the past, like, what is it? This came out in 2002. Yeah, bro, like we're 23 years deep.
Yeah.
Still
legit.
Their best work.
But yeah, no, for me, Sunday morning, I just love the smooth guitar riffs. I love just how like desperate Adam is, but yet the song still manages to be very upbeat. So just like I said, stand out that will put people back into memory lane mode. But next up, I Know NIGO by NIGO 2022 album. This is one of those loose compilation albums that you're just obviously naturally going to pull out only certain songs from the album. There's big features from A$AP Rocky, Uzi, Tyler, Pusha T, Pop Smoke, and more. My favorite songs from this album would be these ones. I think you'd probably be on the same page. Lost and Found Freestyle 2019, Hear Me Clearly, Come On, Let's Go, and Remember.
I won't remember.
Oh, easily. It's easily Remember. It's one of his best songs.
Do you remember that? No
do you remember?
But do you remember when the song came out? Like how we were listening to it and we were like, ooh. Because there was a run where people would get these posthumous Pop Smoke verses, and example like DJ Khaled would use it for an album, and you're like, that shouldn't be on here. You know, but then we were surprised because we thought that this was going to be just another filler performance from Pop Smoke, like bottom of the barrel, like Pop Smoke verse, and you go in and it's arguably like one of the best songs in his catalog, bro.
Yeah,
it's stupid. And obviously there's no NIGO production on it. Song was produced by Rado Beats and Jose Beats.
Well, yeah, he's not really a producer, yeah.
So it was more of like a curation thing, but the fact that they found this song in the stash, stupid. Ridiculous song.
Just him rapping like as fast as he is over that vocal sample and those heavy drums, insane, invincible energy. And like I said, one of the best songs he's ever made, in my opinion. And it's one of those beats that you listen to and you're like, no one could have rapped better over this production. Like, it was impossible. He was made to rap over that. But next up, Demon Days by Gorillaz. This is the second studio album by virtual band Gorillaz, and leans into alt rock, leans into hip hop, and a few other genres. Very diverse listen. And it's a very varied listen, which is good for the aux because there's different songs that have different moods that you can tap into. I think the obvious choice for a lot of people would be Feel Good Inc.
That would be my choice.
It's respectable, bro. How can you not understand that? You know, it's one of those songs where you're like, nothing that came before it or after it ever sounded like that. It's a song that its rhythm pulls you in right away. The fucking sinister bass line, those beautiful strings that you hear, even the themes, which are very cynical and, you know, play perfectly into the surreal atmosphere, just make for an otherworldly experience. That's the best way to put it.
I don't remember, like, do you remember this when we were in Los Angeles last year and we went to that nightclub at one point and they played Feel Good Inc. and you saw how everyone reacted at that point? Like, when I was doing the notes for this episode, I was looking back at that moment and I'm like, you know what? You're playing this, when you're playing this song, it's going to get a reaction out of absolutely everybody. Yeah. And I listen, there's maybe even some newer fans that don't even know this song comes from Gorillaz. That's the funny part, you know? Like, maybe there's some 13 or 14-year-old kids that love this song because of the infectious groove to it and, you know, how lively it feels for this album as well. And they're like, wow, this is really Gorillaz, you know? And then it becomes that gateway drug into the rest of their catalog. And they have so much fucking wonderful material. I just think it's arguably their most aux-friendly song out of their entire catalog, not even for this album.
It's up there, yeah.
It's definitely in conversation. So that would be my pick.
Yeah, I mean, other shouts, November Has Come with MF Doom. That's just the hip-hop head in me, though. Like, I'm not playing that on the aux. There's Dare, which is actually a big standout for me as an aux song because that's like this dystopian dance vibe song, and there's nothing like it on the rest of the track list. So that's just one that's fascinating. And even Don't Get Lost in Heaven It's just a very euphoric, peaceful experience of a song, which comes later into the track list. So there's actually a couple that you can go into. I'm still gonna go with Feel Good Inc., even though it's the obvious answer, though.
All right, let's keep
Next
going on
up,
with this.
Burning Desire by Mike. This is one of Mike's more popular albums. Has 24 songs on it. It's loaded with a bunch of vocal samples and boom bap samples and just a plethora of different sounds all across it. Shout out to Zap. They Don't Stop in the Rain with Taka, Muscle Beach, 16s, and Golden Hour with Larry June. Those are all my standouts, besides my main pick.
And then Burning Desire, the self-titled track as well, is really solid off of this album. I went with Golden Hour off of this. I love the collaboration between... Well, by the way, what's yours?
I'll get to mine. You can talk about Golden Hour.
I'll talk about Golden Hour. Just smooth, traditional Mike, Larry June area of hip-hop where you're getting this incredible, luscious, luxurious DJ Black Power, sample flip. And, DJ Black Power is also produced for Mike throughout his entire catalog, produced for Mavi. So the production plays very much into that world. You have like this sort of drumless loop that goes on in the background, and you get Mike, talking about spending his money quick and, the luxuries that come with rap and fame. Traditional Larry June verse towards the end. I just think, like, especially for the AUX and something friendly, this is something that you could put on and ride to, bro. This is like really rider music for me, where you have that sample flip going on in background. The female vocals sound very tender. They're very prominent throughout the production, and then you're getting these very patient and mellow cadences from Mike and Larry June, and it's been in my rotation since this album dropped. I think it's super strong off of the album, and I understand why this is a fan favorite for 2023.
Yeah.
It's definitely one of the better AUX songs off of this album, but that would be my pick.
I go with You Think Maybe, which is the one for me. I think it's just as good as it gets when it comes to modern jazzy hip-hop. Getting the stunning vocal performance from the featured artist live, the production and the lively horns, and Venna on the saxophone. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Venna, but one of the best young saxophonists around, often collaborates with a lot of hip-hop artists. And then you're getting just a super personal performance from Mike, which I love, with lines like Sort It with Pops, All That You Ask For, and him just trying to move forward from trauma. Beautiful song, impeccably well produced, and like I said, one of the best modern jazz hip-hop cuts you could find. But all right, last album for today, AM by Arctic Monkeys. This is one of, if not like the most streamed rock album of all time, which is pretty crazy.
Songs like Do I Want to Know and Arabella are super popular. Like,
Fireside is a shout for me.
Yeah, for sure.
Snap Out of it as well. And another album that you could bump as a whole because it's only 12 songs, 40 minutes.
Super concise.
But this was easy, though, for me.
This was easy for me, at least, for my personal rotation. Where did you go?
Do I Want to Know?
I went with Why Did You Only Call When You Want to Get High.
Really?
Yeah, I love this song, bro. I love this
good
record.
pick, yeah.
And it was a very experimental record for them because there's like this R&B, like funk influence to the track. And it's very AUX friendly. I love the messaging of the song. When two partners will only call each other like when they're down to be at their lowest. Like, I really think that's interesting. And if you ever want to hear the explanation of how this song came about, there's full of interviews online and on YouTube. But I just love the production on this song, and it's one of the most popular songs off of the album, behind Arabella, for example, or even before Do I Want to Know. But I think that still it's one of those songs where maybe if you haven't heard it in a while, you're like, fuck, it's true, this existed and it went crazy. I think it's the third most streamed song off of the album.
Yeah.
So it's still, it's maybe a surprise for people on the AUX cable, but as well, like, it has that factor to it. Also, I saw this song played live at Osheaga. Was it Osheaga? No, I think it was Heavy MTL. Remember when Heavy MTL used to be going crazy back then? I was working on those food trucks back then in Parc Jean Drapeau, and I saw them play the song live, and it's been a favorite off of this album for me ever since. So that was my pick.
Yeah, I went with the classic intro, Do I Want to Know? And a big reason is that iconic guitar riff mixed in with those heavy kick drums. I feel like this is probably the most iconic guitar riff of the 2010s, the same way that, let's say, Seven Nation Army is the most iconic guitar riff of the 2000s. Like, that's what this was to this decade. And Alex Turner just delivers a great vocal performance. I love the tone shifts within it. And yeah, it's one of the biggest songs. It's one of their signature songs, but it's for a good reason. Musically, it just stands out over the rest of the pack. But Yeah, that's gonna sum up the episode, bro.
Great aux picks.
For sure.
We always have great taste on the aux. I'll never disagree with you on aux
Yeah,
picks.
100%.
Yeah. But guys, listen, that's going to conclude today's episode. If you did enjoy this episode, hit the subscribe button. We're doing these types of episodes on a weekly basis. And turn on the notification bell because you guys are going to be able to keep up with our upload schedule. Thank you so much for watching this video, and we'll catch you in the next one. Peace.